a lot of people, it sounds like kind of touchy-feely nonsense. That is, it might be nice to be empathic, but it's not really important. It's not going to help you get things done. It's not going to make you effective. That's a misunderstanding. In fact, nothing could be further from the truth. Empathy isn't about feeling everything that everyone around you feels. It isn't about getting caught up in emotions. Actually, it's about understanding other people's point of view, understanding their feelings, but regulating your response to them, and then helping other people regulate their emotions. And we know from study after study that empathy is actually the most important attribute to have whenever you're doing anything that involves interacting with others, whether that's managing subordinates, working in a team, managing your boss, working with clients, working with suppliers. My name is Anthony Jack, and I study the hard science of empathy. For about 10 years now, I've been running a brain imaging lab at Case Western Reserve University. We found something really remarkable. It changed my view of empathy, and I think it'll change yours too. You see, we weren't just studying empathy, we were also studying analytic reasoning. That's the type of a reasoning that you use to think scientifically, mathematically, logically. It's the type of reasoning that we predominantly teach in school, right the way through undergraduate and graduate level courses. We're teaching people all the time to think in a more clear, crisp, analytic way. So, unsurprisingly, what you see when you look at the brain is that there's a lot of the brain devoted to analytic reasoning, a lot of the most plastic, modifiable cortex, the most evolved part of the brain. But what we found was something really kind of surprising, which was that there's actually just as much, and in fact, in some studies, slightly more of the brain that's responsible for empathy than is responsible for analytic reasoning. And that blew my mind, because how much time do we really spend learning how to empathize more effectively? Remarkably little. But the problem is actually even worse than that, because we found something else as well, which is that when you engage in analytic reasoning, you actually suppress or turn off the brain areas that you use for empathy. So all that time you spend training yourself to be analytic is causing you to neglect empathy. Or as Jane Austen might put it, we spend so much time focusing on making sense that we leave aside our sensibility. Well, when I made that discovery of the relationship between analytic thinking and empathy in the brain, it sent me on a personal journey to understand empathy from multiple perspectives and how we can train others to improve their empathy. So, not only have I looked at empathy from the point of view of the latest research in neuroscience and contributed to that, and the latest research in psychology and contributed to that, and the latest research in philosophy, and I'm writing a book about that now. But not only have I looked at it from all those intellectual points of view, but I've also got involved in empathy from an experiential point of view. Not just as a teacher, but also through taking coaching certification and becoming a coach, and now also through learning the gestalt of how people meet. So what I've done is, I've taken all of that academic knowledge and that personal experience, and I've related it all and boiled it down to a one-day workshop which just teaches the key points about empathy. Now, I'm not going to pretend to you that you're going to become an expert in empathy from attending a one-day workshop, but I have got some really good news for you. The good news is that we live in such a technology-dominated, STEM-oriented society that it isn't actually very hard to get a leap ahead of the crowd in terms of empathy. Even in one day, you can make a really good start. So, as an accomplished executive, you have spent years training your brain to think analytically. Come and spend one day training the other side of your brain. I promise you, it'll be a transformative experience.